Good afternoon, welcome to the first of a series of tutorials regarding the Hero System mod for Tabletop Simulator. Here we're at the beginning of Tabletop Simulator, and this is a quick introduction, hopefully less than 10 minutes, to the first two ways in which you can use the Hero System mod. For those who don't usually use Tabletop Simulator, if the game loads for you like this once you've purchased it, simply click Create and then do multiplayer. I've chosen a particularly easy server name and a particularly easy server password to get us started, and I've set it for 7 players because there are 6 seats within the game for players and 1 for the GM. You'll then be deposited here. This screen shows you the workshop, and over here you can see the Hero System mod. So you just click on it and load it. Now the mod starts loading in the background. It's obviously coming from the internet, and depending upon your network connection will either load quickly or slowly. I don't know where you are and I don't know how strong your internet connection is. Suffice to say, most people will manage the very first time they play to load the mod in under about a minute. After the first time it's loaded, it usually manages to get about twice as fast. So 30 seconds. You'll see in the top right hand corner an indicator of the percentage that's loaded, but it flies through really quickly from 0 to 84, and then it's loaded and tells you it's complete. And you can tell you this because actually here it's free moving when I use the right mouse key to rotate. Okay, some important things. First of all, generally, piece of good advice, don't change your colour of your character or your player until such time as you've got in and everything's loaded. So we're in. I'm now going to change to black for the Games Master. You'll see all the various players: purple, red, orange, yellow, green and blue are set up, and each player will have a number of things such as calculator, dice, counters, dice roller, character sheet locations, Hero System rulebook location, but no rulebook, you have to load your own. An intro, a very good intro by Chris Goodwin, and some notes for taking notes in the game. But one thing I'd really like to stress, just because you're playing online does not mean you have to record all your information online. It's perfectly acceptable for you to sit here with a pen and paper and write something down in the real world. You could even have your book open, rulebook open if you want it in the real world. You can do whatever you want in the real world. You don't have to duplicate it sitting around this table. Okay, in addition to that, you've got a series of GM screens to give everyone, and that's between each of the players. There's a set, so they share them. There you go. Moving around here. And the GM's got one standing up next to his space here, and also the ability to load 2 different rulebooks at different pages, and a copy of a character sheet if he needs it. You could duplicate this and have as many as you want in the remaining space. On the right hand side you will see a number of chests, and those chests contain terrain. Some samples to get you going. Obviously you'd be expected to build your own out of the various pieces of free terrain available on the workshop. There's some scenery controls, so for instance here, rain, and you can just see falling there, rain. There's rain and snow set up, and you can turn it on or off as you play. It's great if you've got figures. If you're just playing more theatre of the mind, you don't need it. You'll also notice here this is a hex grid. The hex grid is controlled by the grid setting, and you'll notice 1.1547 is chosen to be the size. There's a reason for that later, but suffice to say it means when you use measurements in the game, they're accurate to the hexes. You can change the opacity and make it darker or lighter, stroke gone, as you wish, or thinner. Entirely up to you. Whatever you're happy with, it's your game. You get to choose what you want. If you like squares, you can even have squares. Okay. In addition, over in this space, you've got an area here for you to get your own figures, and you'll see some effects and spotlights and various pieces of fun over here for you to play with. I suggest going to the mod workshop and looking for your own. Okay, so moving on. This bit here we will return to in the next video, but fundamentally is the more advanced features of the Hero System mod. What I want to talk about today is how you can play without needing this, without needing Hero Designer, without needing any of that stuff, how you could just literally jump in here and get going. So let's look at that. So there's 3 levels of play. The one I just showed you was the highest, level 3, and it's quite advanced. But you don't need to do that. You can play just like you were sitting around a table. You can use the voice comms in Tabletop Simulator so you can all hear each other and talk. You can pick up dice out of one of these handily placed infinity dice bags. Draw a rubber band with the left-hand mouse key over them to select them so they're highlighted, and then just hit R a few times to make them roll. There you go. And because it's a physics engine, they roll like they would in real life. I can, even if I'm feeling really bold, pick them up, shake them, and throw them. Whatever you want to do, as long as they move through the air and roll randomly. See? Simple as that. If you hover over the selected dice, it even calculates the amount on the dice for you, which is nice. Combine that with PDF of your character sheet, but it could be in front of you. Combine that with a set of the rule books and some notes, but they could be in front of you, and a calculator. And you can play Hero System in here online, and you could do it the same if you're all on mobile phone or a group chat or Discord or whatever you want. The only real difference here is you're picking up some dice and throwing them. It's quite nice. You could use figures that you get from the workshop and move them around on the grid. Very straightforward. Level 2 is a step up from that and introduces the first of the tools we've added. The first tools that we've added are these dice rollers. So, this is the number of dice. So let's press that 13. And that rather pleasant sound is all the dice rolling and rearranging themselves. And strangely, I left killing attack on, so I should have turned that off. But it tells me, let's try again. There you go. It tells me that I've rolled 13d6 for a total of 45 with a body of 13. And it tells me the dice I rolled to achieve that number directly underneath. That's great. It's quick, it's easy, there's no calculations, you don't have to work out your body, you just roll the dice. Let's say you wanted to roll killing attack. You select killing, you choose the stun, click here to flick between the stun dice of your choice. So if you're on 1d6 -1, you're running 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd or 1st edition Hero System games. If you click again, you're running 6th edition Hero System. You can increment them, like so. You can apply stun modifiers and do as much of that as you want to set up the dice roll you want. You can either add +1 to the normal dice, another half d6, or -1 to the dice, entirely up to you. So let's set up a 2d6 killing attack and press the number. You notice 3 dice rolled. That 3rd dice is actually the half dice. And you can see that down here. It says body of 8, stun of 8. You rolled 3 and 5, which is the body of 8, with a half dice roll of 1, which means it's a multiplier of 1, so it's 8 stun for 8 body. Worked perfectly. Do it again, and we get a very pleasant 11 body on 2 dice, which is pretty good, and a stun of 33, which is the maximum stun multiplier. Yeah. One thing you should never do is remove the dice. It can't work without there. That's the dice it uses to make the decision about the roll. It looks at that dice and rolls it. You'll notice you've got a blue dice because you're the blue player here. And every colour has the same. If you really wanted to be fancy, you could put a D20 on there. I'm not too sure you'd be pleased by the result, but you could do it. Okay, so that's simply how the dice roller works. Use that, you'll speed up your dice rolling, you'll speed up the amount of time it takes to read the dice, and you'll broadcast it to everyone so everyone gets to know. One important point though, you'll notice here that this stays on permanently. Most new configurations of Tabletop Simulator do not. So that's done in chat settings, and I've turned off auto hide chat. You're going to want to do that as well. And if you, one of the problems with doing it is it kills your color scheme. So you've then got to come back here and put your color scheme back. But you know, some people like transparent. I don't. I like having it kind of jet black at the back so I can clearly see what's been done. Okay, there you go. That's your very first intro to the Hero system on tabletop. That's covered levels 1 and 2, giving you an introduction of how to get into the game and how to play. Quite simply how to roll some dice or have them rolled for you. We're going to cover these little things here and over here for the GM in the next video. So here's a turn controller. Here are various characters waiting to be loaded with things like their primary and secondary statistics and so forth, all of which are gathered from Hero Designer. We'll talk more about that the next time round. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me on the Discord, or you can contact me via the comments below. Thank you. Goodbye.